coming into focus all of a sudden. This is Tell It Someone. First question is from the Naked Wombat. If you were given an art commission to create a human centipede from a handful of politicians, who would you use, and in which order from front to rear? Well, that would depend on which politicians were available. I mean, if I've only got a handful, that's this many, so that wouldn't be very many. It's especially when, grabbing a handful of politicians, you'd need gloves on. But if I had a bigger number and a bigger amount of politicians, well, then I'd have to take all of the conservative politicians because they like that sort of thing, and I'd get them all in there. I mean, people like Boris Johnson and Scott Morrison, of course, and that Donald person, and a whole bunch of other conservatives. Harper would be good, but he's out of office now. So I get them all, and well, they're going to miss out. So I'd probably make it a circular human centipede, and that would be better. Then and nobody gets to miss out on all the fun. Next question is from Robert Bow. Do you think that your career will ever rebound from the damage done by the Australian Crime Commission when it alleged that you funneled millions in income from your Crocodile Dundee films to offshore tax havens? Well, of course, it would, but I'm living in America now, but I've done so many other things that, people might find a little bit disturbing, that I'm not too worried about that. I mean, I'm still making movies even though I'm 80. Like that time I launched an entire brand of cigarettes and got millions and millions of young people to smoke because I'm naturally good looking and cool and stuff. And I had a television show at the time. I was playing shovels and stuff. And so I got a lot of young people to smoke until they forced me to stop by taking the ads off air because, they didn't want people to have cancer. Anyway, after that, I made a couple of films and a couple more films, and then I made something called Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, and it didn't do well, and people were wondering why it didn't do well. And it turns out that when I got the script, I had somebody else write the script, and then what I did was I took that script, the first draft of that script, and then I crossed out all of the names and wrote different names, and then I said it was my own work, except they had only given me the first draft of that script, so I just used the first draft of the script to film the film, and that was before they took the plot of the film, which was an art heist, and they were planning to thread that throughout the entire film instead of like having my character walk around for like an hour in Los Angeles and stuff, reacting to stuff and things. Anyway, so I stole the script essentially, and I had to credit them, so I took my name off the credits, and I still made money on the film because, I'm Paul Hogan. No, I'm not Paul Hogan. I didn't do all these things. Paul Hogan did these things, didn't he? Oh, what have I done? I sat in a car and yelled at a camera. Fuck. Next question is from Dehydrated Potato. My eyes, the bleach does nothing. Next question is from Matt Yabs. It appears that we have a little bit of help with this whole Brexit thing. We kindly ask that you join us as Britain's representatives to the EU and iron out this mess a bit. Will you come? Best regards, Matt, Great Britain and that fundamentalist bit on the edge of Ireland. Well, okay, the thing is that as Australians, we are familiar with, we Brexited like in the 60s and stuff. well, we sort of kind of Brexited in 1901, but then we were still eligible for British passports, and then well, Britain Brexited us by not allowing us to have British passports anymore. So I got to get a visa and stuff to work in Britain. So you going to give me money to do that? You going to give me money? Hey, give me a nice visa stamp so I can get work in Britain because I can't get work here, please. Next, I've got to achieve more than Paul Hogan has, and like he had this career thing and I don't. He made movies and I've only been in one, and that was an accident. Next question is from Danny Wick. How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would if? That's, look, a woodchuck is basically a groundhog, and groundhogs are the like these rodents that get killed by New York mayors and are the spokesman for living the same day over and over again until you get it right. And I didn't get today right, so fuck the woodchuck because I don't know. But okay, why would a woodchuck wood? Why would the woodchuck chuck any wood? Because a woodchuck wouldn't wonder why a woodchuck would chuck wood. A woodchuck wouldn't chuck any wood because woodchucks don't gain anything by chucking any wood at all. Wouldn't it? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Jonathan Stern asked the last question for today. Why aren't there left and right socks? Well, look, all my socks are the same, okay? They fit on either foot. And I don't even worry about pairs anymore. I just buy a whole bunch of red socks, and then I don't have to pair them off or anything. And if I lose one, there's still like a bunch of same socks out there, so I can just put another sock that looks exactly the same, and it wouldn't know the difference because they're not sentient or anything. I don't wear them for that long till they become sentient. They just become smelly at a point, and then I wash them and get the next pair out, which aren't a pair, it's just two of them. But if you want them to be left socks, right socks, you can do that. All you have to do is buy two different coloured pairs and make sure that you only wear the blue sock or whatever on the left foot and the yellow sock or whatever on the right foot. And that way you have left-hand socks and right-hand socks, but not on your hands. You've got to put your socks on your feet. A hand sock is called a mitten. Well, it's summer, so you don't wear mittens. Well, it's summer here. And in America, California's still on fire, so technically it's not summer, but it still feels like summer because it's burning. And I'm trailing off into the distance because I haven't got anything to say. That means that's it for Tell Someone for this week. If you would like to ask me a question, then the question asking place, of course, is in the place below. Or you can answer this dovetail question, which is not over here this time, it's down here because there is a lovely little place that I've left in the bottom of the frame, and there's not enough room over here anyway, You need to see the well-lit back seat and not the underlit front seat because, that's the way I planned. I didn't plan it. I just put the camera on the dashboard and I shouted at the camera and read things out and then answered those things, except for one of the things, and that's all I did for this episode. I mean, I could have edit stuff in and stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I mean, it's too late in the evening for that. I mean, I had a busy and tiring day, and I'm not doing that. So you can answer this dovetail question or ask your own question for me to answer next week, and you can share and like the video, of course, and use the bell icon if you're so inclined, and spread the word about this wonderful channel. Someday I might actually make content for it. Yes, and maybe a Patreon if I'll tell you to give money to my Patreon, but I don't have one, but you do it anyway. And the money's not coming back to me. Money doesn't come back to me. Oh well, we'll fix that. I'm dangerously talented and I don't have a cool sign-off.